Welcome to the Vol Bros. My name is Evan. This is my brother Rustin, and we are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life. And you just got to witness the debut of our new baseball intro. That was pretty cool. Momentous occasion to start off the Vol Bros episode here. Uh, tomorrow, it's only a day away. The BaseVols to have a series starting at number one ranked LSU. Rustin, who do you think is going to be the X factor this weekend for the Vols?
Really, I think it comes down to two things. Starting pitching has to be more successful early in the game than they have been recently. And then the bullpen's got to come up big. I love what Coach Vitello did this past weekend, where he showed he has no issue running out 9 guys in one game. If he has to play percentages and play righty-righty, lefty-lefty, he has no issue. There was one inning this past weekend against A&M where he threw 3 different guys against 3 different hitters. I love the fact that he's embracing. He honestly kind of learned from Saturday. He left Chase Burns out there too long, and it burned him a little bit, and luckily they came back. But he probably left Chase Burns out there 3 hitters too long, and he learned from that on Sunday. He pulled Drew Beam early. Drew didn't like it, but the bullpen absolutely shut A&M down after that. So it was interesting to watch that dynamic and watch Coach Vitello realize that he has an incredible bullpen and he needs to use it.
So I think so. I switched cameras because my other one froze. It's like a replay of last time. I'll switch it back and see if it's working now. Nope, it's not. Oh, there it goes. How about that? All right, so I'm back now. I would say the X factor is Charlie Taylor, or I'll say this, or whoever they put behind the plate. Whoever they put behind the plate has to be solid defensively, but also has to be able to hit the ball. They are not going to go down there and win this series if they don't have 9 hitters in the lineup who can be a threat at the plate. When Charlie Taylor's back there, it's obviously a defensive plus. When Jared Dickey's back there, it's a offensive plus. But then you're sacrificing defense. And that's no knock on Jared Dickey. He's been an outfielder, his whole career. So it's a tough situation to be in, no doubt. They have to have 9 hitters that are a legitimate threat in the lineup, though. Otherwise, you can pitch around people that aren't going to hit the ball, and attack them. So I think they got to have somebody behind the plate who is a legitimate offensive threat.
Well, and add into that the third catcher, Cal Stark, who has been swinging the bat better than Charlie Taylor. He's probably not as good at defensively as Charlie, but I think this game is going to come more down to who can outscore the other team, because runs are going to be at a premium. If our 3 starting pitchers throw the way they're capable of first innings, this could easily be 3 straight 2-1, 3-2, 4-3 type games where pitching's just dominant and every little run matters.
Absolutely.
Offensively, they're both very similar. When you look at their overall team stats, they're almost identical. So, it's really going to come down to which pitching staff shows up the strongest and gets outs. The one thing that's interesting about Cal Stark, he's a dead fastball hitter. And LSU has a lot of power pitchers. So you have to think he's going to be in the lineup somewhere. What's going to be real interesting is, and this is, I think this was somewhat Coach Vitello playing with numbers and trying to figure out what chemistry works. But I think it was also somewhat gamesmanship. This past weekend against A&M, they ran out 3 totally different lineups. And, showed A&M a lot of variations showed LSU a lot of variations against A&M that LSU is going to have to try and figure out, okay, what was that lineup about? What were they trying to achieve? It makes it harder to scout. You go from on Sunday, Zane Denton hits 9-hole against A&M, and then Tuesday against UNC Asheville, he's hitting cleanup. So, they've got a lot to prepare for and don't really know what they're going to see.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's a really good point. I'm going to switch my camera back to the other one again.
I think you need to stay on the other one.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. I'll just leave it here. It's like off-centered, doing that 1/3 look in photography. That's what I'm going for here.
It's all right. It's an aesthetic.
It's a great shot of my microphone, though.
Mm-hmm.
Braden Morgan's joined us. He said he's the first one here. There you go, Braden. Good job, buddy. When we were thinking about the last week of Tennessee athletics, I was looking at my camera up there again, but it's not now. It's down here. When we think about the last week of Tennessee athletics, man, oh man, a lot has happened. They swept Texas A&M, as Rustin mentioned. They swept Texas A&M. Lady Vols basketball and men's basketball both exit the NCAA tournament in the Sweet 16. That loss to Florida Atlantic sure looks different now, doesn't it? And that's a Final Four team.
The weirdest Final Four ever.
100%. Yes. I actually Googled the lowest seeded Final Four ever. And it was in 2014 because 11 seed VCU made it to the Final Four that year.
Yep.
And so they that's why it was the lowest seeded Final Four ever. Also, yesterday, UNC Asheville, the BaseVols take care of them. The Lady Vols continue tearing it up as well in softball. I think 27-2 now, isn't that right?
Yep.
Not bad. That's pretty good.
Well, especially when the two were a very close game early in the season to a top 5 opponent, and they lost the middle game against Alabama in a tight game they had a chance to win, so they could easily be 28-1 right now. Yeah.
So I mean, they're really, really good. That's an understatement. Very impressive by Karen Weekly and the Lady Vols. Tomorrow, not only is it the start of the LSU series with the baseball team, it is also the pro day at Tennessee. And so you've got, talk about, there are some folks who really, really need this to be a productive day for them. Darnell Wright is not one of them. He has solidified himself as a first-round draft pick. Jalen Hyatt probably is a first-round draft pick, but if he has a good showing tomorrow, that'll certainly make sure he's a first-round draft pick. Hendon Hooker. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do. I mean, he's probably not. He might throw from a knee or something, but I mean, he's not going to be out there on his feet throwing for sure. But his interview skills and stuff like that are certainly going to help him. Mike Tannenbaum, I believe was his name, from ESPN, projected him number 5 overall. One spot behind Will Levis, which still blows my mind. But number 5 overall to the Seahawks in his mock draft. What else is going on up there in Knoxville? Next Saturday is the Orange and White game at 2:30 p.m. But one thing we wanted to do as we prepare for the BaseVols series with LSU is we're going to rank their uniforms. We need Chad Fields on here to tell us what he thinks too, but I'm going to see if I can get him to come on a show for near football season to talk about some Vol football uniforms. What we did, Rustin and I ranked the uniforms for Tennessee. Some of the ones that we all the different combinations we can think of. Obviously, the Sunday creams that was on the list. The dark mode with the black cap, black jersey, and white pants. The orange white look with an orange hat, orange jersey, and white pants. The all grays, the all smoky grays. We're going to rank those as well. They're going to be in there. Primary road uniform right there. The all whites with the orange cap, the typical Friday home look, and the pinstripes, which we saw against UNC Asheville last night. And so those are all in there. So Rustin, you go first. Tell us your rankings of Tennessee's uniforms.
Do you want me to go first to last or last to first?
Let's go first to last. Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Open it up.
So I love the Sunday creams. I think it's honestly, I think it's the best looking uniform maybe in all of college baseball. Ole Miss's Columbia blue uniform is pretty close, but the all Sunday cream I love. I would love it even more if they were able to come out with a retro cream hat to go with it. That would be just unbelievable seller. Next for me is the orange cap, the orange jersey, and the white pant. Love the contrast, just love the way it looks. Like the orange jersey because it's a stereotypical traditional alternate jersey. And I'll come back to that in a second. I really like the orange hat with the pinstripe uniforms. I didn't used to like the pinstripe uniforms when they were Adidas. They looked weird. The pinstripes were way too big. But since they switched to Nike, Nike's pinstripe uniform looks really good. After that, I've got the black hat, the black jersey, and the white pant. I just really love that look. I'm ready for Alumni Hall or the UT Vol Shop or someone to get the black Nike hat in stock and actually keep it in stock. That would be wonderful. I have
with
yet
puff embroidery.
Yes, with puff embroidery, not a flat embroidered UT on the front. I have yet to be able to order one of those because every time I try, they're always sold out. So this is where my top 7 kind of will maybe anger some people. So I could have put number 5, number 6, and number 7 all as number 7. I don't like Tennessee's white jersey at all. I did so when I was growing up, when I was playing in high school, when I was playing in college, 2-button placket jerseys were what you reserved for summer ball because it was cheap. And it blows my mind that Tennessee's primary home jersey is a 2-button placket jersey. And it would be different if Nike just didn't make full button down uniforms, but their pinstripe is a full button down. So we know they do. And I just do
Sunday
not
creams are buttoned down.
right. And so I just have I have no earthly idea why the Friday night jersey, the one that you're probably wearing on TV more than any other, is the cheapest jersey you can possibly buy. I just don't get that. And I don't really like it, to be honest. When I was a player, I used to hate when we had to wear the 2-button placket. It was, I mean, you didn't feel like you looked good. I mean, it's really what it came down to. So number 6
Look good, feel good, play good, baby.
right. So number 6 and number 7 are kind of along the same lines. Number 6 is the gray, orange, gray. And the only reason it's above number 7 is because of the orange jersey. Because in my opinion, and this is what's going to be really unpopular, I think our smoky gray uniforms are absolutely disgusting. I don't like them at all. I don't like that shade of gray in a baseball uniform. It looks weird and dingy. I especially don't like that the jersey, again, is a 2-button placket. And that's the only reason why the gray, orange, gray got slightly higher than the gray, 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 because at least the orange is an alternate jersey, so at least it should look a little different. But I would be totally fine if we decided to just scrap the smoky gray uniforms altogether and went to a more traditional gray uniform and put the script Vols on it like the creams.
That'd be cool.
I would be totally good with that move, especially if it's a full button down normal uniform and not a cheap 2-placket jersey.
That script Vols is a game changer. That looks good. I mean, it looks good. So my rankings, I too went with the Sunday creams as numero uno. They look good, man. Like that is a good looking baseball uniform right there. I love kind of the retro vibe they got going. The Vol script is perfect. I mean, I love that script. So that was my number one. The orange hat, orange jersey, white pant was also Rustin's number. So we had the same top two.
Yep.
I love that too. Once again, you got the Vol script. I'm telling you, something about that script. It looks really good. And so
I
that
think
was,
some of it is the fact when you look at that picture, look at how well Evo Shield made the helmets match the uniforms. You know,
yeah,
sometimes when you have multiple vendors working, you know, because
yeah,
all their uniforms are Nike, but all of their exterior gear is Evo Shield. So anytime you've got, you know, the ankle guard or the elbow guard or the helmet, Evo Shield did a really good job matching the uniforms.
yeah, I totally agree. They look really good. I mean, like that's just sharp right there. That is a sharp looking uniform.
Yep.
So those are my top two, the creams and the orange, orange, white. So here's where Rustin and I differ on our appreciation for the grays. So I'm going to add a caveat in here. Like here's the all gray. I'm going to say I like the all grays at night because at night the orange looks different than it does in the daylight, and it looks really sharp at night. So that's my caveat there. When it's a night game and they're in the all grays, it looks good. Then I would say the orange, white, white, just because it's like a clean look. I'm not a fan of the straight across script on the. It goes from like armpit to armpit. I'm not a huge fan of that. But I do like the clean look there. And then after that, we got the pinstripes. I think I have a photo of that. Yep. So the pinstripes looking sharp, classic look. You know, not as good as the others, but classic look. And then I'm not a huge fan of the dark modes. I mean, they're okay, I guess. Um, I guess one of the things that I don't like about it is the juxtaposition of classic Vol logo and new Vol's word mark. So you got the classic UT on the hat, and then the new Vols word mark on across the chest on the jersey. I don't know. I just like a feng shui thing going on there in the uniform, I guess.
I've never really liked the Vol script on the black jersey. I think it's probably I just like the juxtaposition of the black on white, and I love the
Yeah,
hat. It
yeah.
would probably look really good if they would take that interlocked UT and put it on the left chest,
There you now you're cooking.
like the T is on the pinstripes. You know, if they did something like that with the dark mode and had the black hat with the black jersey and put the interlocking UT on the left chest like that one is, that dark mode uniform would probably look really good.
Yeah, I'm all on board on that. I'm all for that. Yeah, I can totally see what you're saying and have like an orange number on the bottom left and
Yep.
the I guess it'd be actually the bottom right if you're wearing it. And then the interlocking UT on the left chest. Yeah. Now that would look sharp. I'm all
Mhm.
about that. That would look good. And then my bottom one was gray, orange, gray. Now what's interesting is they threw a curveball at us this year and they wore orange, orange, gray one night instead of gray, orange, gray. But I think I don't know. It looks mismatched in my opinion because you got white script on the orange jersey with gray pants,
Yeah.
and I'm like that don't match.
I think one other reason I don't like the smoky grays, have you ever noticed the orange bill on the hats, on the gray hats? Somehow Nike messed up and didn't match their own orange because that's a Nike hat, but the orange on it doesn't match the orange on any other part of their uniforms.
Yeah, man, that's a big mistake. You got to have that Pantone 151C, or if everybody wants to know the hex code, it's FF8200. That's the hex code for. That's what the color you see in our background right now, actually. So that's our rankings for the Vols uniforms. We'd love to hear y'all's rankings in the comments if you're watching this. I'm actually probably going to cut that out as its own standalone video and make it a standalone video on here. But that's our rankings of the uniforms. I think we're totally in agreement, and probably everybody who's watching this the creams are the best. I mean, they are top dog. And then that orange, white is a very close second because that is a sharp looking uniform too. Um, what do you expect to see as we close out here thinking about the LSU series? What do you expect to see?
I hope the team that showed up Sunday for A&M shows up for all three games. You're not going to hit a lot of home runs in Baton Rouge. It's not a home run stadium. We've actually hit more home runs this year than LSU has. Their team batting average, though, is about 50 points higher than ours. And so, we've got to show up because they're going to put together hits. That's just what they do. And they've got a bunch of guys in their lineup that are, line drive hitters who are going to hit a lot of doubles, and they're going to put together continuous hits. And we can't live for the long ball. We've got to do the same thing we did Sunday against A&M and just consistently put together hit after hit after hit. Because again, they're probably going to be three pretty low scoring games if both pitching staffs do what they should. This is a weird weekend. We're one of the early series this week, so we're Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's a little different. We haven't done that in a long time. And Thursday night is the Skeens kid. And just so everybody kind of prepares themselves, if they haven't seen him throw yet this year, he is currently 5-0. He has a .72 ERA.
Decent.
This is probably the scariest part. In those 5 wins, he has allowed 14 hits, and he has struck out 71 batters.
It's not bad.
So, for those of you who couldn't do any quick math there, he's averaging 14 strikeouts a game, and he's only allowing slightly less than 3 hits a game. A lot of people...
that's first round stuff.
Oh, more than that. A lot of people think in the upcoming June draft, he and Chase Dolander will be 1 and 2. They will be the first 2 picks in the draft. So, from a skill and talent perspective, Thursday night, everybody may be getting to watch the literal first and second pick in the draft pitch against each other.
You think there'll be any eyes on that game for major leagues teams and scouts?
I think it was Steven Schock jokingly put down they're going to have to add extra seats at LSU for all the scouts that will be there Thursday night.
Yep.
So the problem is Friday, it doesn't get much easier. Friday, they'll throw Ty Floyd. He's 4-0 right now, and his ERA is like 1.1 something. The one guy so right now, the one thing we do have going for us, their third starter is kind of up in the air. They haven't had anybody really step forward and take that role. And, they didn't sweep last weekend. They won 2 out of 3, and the one they lost was the Sunday game, and it was because their starter got knocked off the mound in the third inning. So, they're a little susceptible in that third game. So if Drew Beam comes out and it's just lights out, we can probably get a win there. So really it comes down to Chase Dolander and Chase Burns. Which one could potentially get us a second win? You're not going to sweep LSU. It's not going to happen. But if we can go down there, I mean, honestly, I hate to say this, but if we can get 1 out of 3, that's a good weekend. If we can get 2 out of 3, we're a national championship contender. Because this is one of the deepest, most talented LSU teams you're going to see in a long time.
Well, there's a reason why they're number 1. That's not an accident. There's a reason. And I think that the most interesting thing to watch this weekend will be how Chase Dolander in particular responds to, 2 outings ago was not great, obviously. Last outing, after the first inning, he turns the corner and really has a great outing. And so now he's going down. He knows He's not dumb. He knows. Every major league scout is going to be watching that game.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make some money? You want to make a name for yourself? This is the time to do it. And so I think that, it's very analogous to when the basketball team played Duke in the Sweet 16. They entered that game with a different mentality than we had ever seen that team come out and play with. I would not be shocked if that's the same kind of mentality we see Chase Dolander approach the mound with. Even Burns. I mean, he knows too. This is money games for them. If they want to make their name, this is when you do it. You got to be the best. You got to beat the best, right? So it will be very interesting to see how they approach the game, with what kind of mentality they approach the game, and how they respond. And so I think that'll be probably the most fascinating part to watch. But I mean, the bottom line is Tennessee has to be able to hit the ball if they want to win.
And I hope they don't allow ego to get in the way. The best player in America, and it's not close, is in the other dugout. And I would be totally fine if Dylan Cruz in 3 games this weekend, and people are going to say this is crazy when I say it, but I was a former pitcher, and this would be my mentality facing him. I would be totally fine if in those 3 games he went 0 for 0 with 12 walks. Dead serious.
Make somebody else beat you, right?
Anybody else.
Pitch around him.
For those who don't follow college baseball, and maybe you only follow Tennessee, think about the season Blake Burke is having, and then increase the batting average 200 points. And you've got Dylan Cruz.
That's unreal, man. It's unreal.
The man is currently hitting .542 with 9 home runs.
In Division I college baseball against Division I pitchers. That's crazy. That's
to put that in perspective, Blake Burke is hitting .339. So he's actually 203. No, Blake's .337. So he's 205 points higher than Blake Burke right now.
So they got their work cut out for them, that's for sure.
So like I say, make anybody else beat you. Do not let Dylan Cruz take a swing on anything.
Right.
And who knows, if you pitch around him enough on Thursday and Friday, maybe on Saturday he gets frustrated and he starts taking crazy swings and gets himself out.
Yep.
But worst case scenario, put him on every stinking time and make somebody else do something.
Yeah, totally understand. Well, Tom is going to tell us everything we need to know starting tomorrow night. I'm not sure what time the actual first pitch is. Do you happen to know tomorrow night what time it starts?
I think it's an 8:00 game.
Oh, that stinks.
Saturday's.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It is an 8:00 because I looked that up because I was thinking maybe we would go live tomorrow night, and I was like, oh, not at 11:00. So
it's
an 8:00 start.
Thursday's at 8:00 on ESPNU. Friday is 7:00, and it's the primetime game on SEC Network. And then Saturday is a 2:00 game, and it's on SEC Network Plus. So good luck with that.
So here's the deal. I mean, that right there shows people know how high profile of a matchup this is.
Yeah.
That you've got two nationally televised games in the series. I mean, that's a big deal. And so people know, and it'll be interesting to see how the Vols respond. Like I said, they gotta have consistent hitting 1 through 9. They cannot rely on 1 through 7. They got to have 1 through 9. So
I think one thing that's been really interesting recently, and if anybody follows Tony Vitello's interviews and press conferences, after the Missouri game, he was asked about leadership, and or after the Missouri series where they got swept in freezing temperatures, he was asked about leadership, and he said, it's a relatively new group to each other. And he kind of hinted that there were guys in the dugout who needed to lead and weren't. and the ones who were trying to didn't know how. And he said, we have a bunch of guys in the dugout right now that are screaming at each other because they care, but they don't understand how to lead. And then shortly after that, Hunter Inslee and Christian Scott started showing up in the lineup every single day. And about a week and a half ago, Hunter Inslee had a game where he went, I think, 3 for 4, had a good day. And after the game, somebody asked Coach Vitello why Hunter Inslee was in the lineup every day. And he said, we go to practice every day, and Coach Anderson and I, which is interesting, Frank Anderson, the pitching coach, is the one who made this comment. He said, Coach Anderson and I were talking about it, and Coach Anderson said, that kid grew up in Tennessee. He's always wanted to be a Vol, and I don't know that anybody shows up every day and wants it worse than he does. And that's a redshirt sophomore, so he's technically a third-year guy. He's been around the program, and Tony kind of hinted that they were really wanting him to step up and become the leader of the team, which is really interesting. Then after the A&M series, he made a similar comment about Christian Scott. So, two guys that I think if you walked into the season preseason and you took a poll, who do you think are going to be the leaders of this team? I doubt many people would have said Hunter Inslee and Christian Scott.
Nope. Nobody.
But internally, that's who Tony Vitello is looking to lead this group. And Christian Scott's been responding recently. Like, he's playing really, really well. So it's been interesting to watch that dynamic. For those of you who maybe haven't played baseball at a high level, and you're listening to this and you're like, well, what about Chase Dolander? What about Chase Burns? What about Drew Beam? They're the superstars. Why aren't they leading? There's a dynamic in college baseball, and I can speak to this because I played, that's really odd, and it's probably different than any other sport. Pitchers don't lead teams. And the reason is, when you go to practice in college baseball, there are times when the pitchers and position players are completely separate. And the pitchers all have their own individual throwing programs, and they're doing their own thing. And they may not even see the hitters during practice some days. And just to be kind of blunt, the hitters kind of have this unwritten code where they kind of feel like they actually work harder than the pitchers do because they practice every day. In their minds, they practice every day.
It's like the punters and kickers in football.
Right. It's the same mentality. And so there's kind of this unwritten rule in college baseball that everybody, pitchers included, all kind of understand that they defer to the position players to be the leaders. Because they're the ones who are, working harder, air quotes, every day in practice. They don't have off days, whereas pitchers can sometimes have off days for recovery. So, for those who maybe don't understand that dynamic, and they're like, well, Chase Dolander's a first rounder, Chase Burns is a first rounder, Camden Sewell's been, in that pitching staff for 17 years. Why isn't he the leader? It's just different. The position players will not listen to them. It is extremely rare for a pitcher to be a leader. And this actually extends into pro baseball. You won't see many clubhouse leaders in pro baseball that are pitchers, because they're viewed differently. When you do get the rare moment when a clubhouse is led by a pitcher, this happened a little bit with the Braves with Tom Glavine. It is a transcendent leader because they've got to overcome a lot with the position players to be viewed in that way.
Well, so if it's Inslee and Christian Scott, then I hope that they continue to tear it up and keep giving people reasons to look to them.
It's going to be interesting to watch that play out over the rest of the season, because the one that I keep looking at is, what's Griffin Merritt's deal?
Yeah.
He's a 5th-year senior. He was the American Athletic Conference Player of the Year last year. And he's playing pretty well. I wouldn't say he's tearing the cover off the ball, but he's been consistent. But he definitely hasn't stepped to the forefront and led. He's kind of just doing whatever from day to day, bouncing around from position to position, filling whatever role they need him to fill. But I don't see him as a very active participant in trying to lead this bunch.
Yeah, it's a good point. Well, potentially a whole lot's going to be revealed over the next 3 days. So, like we said, Volunteers traveling to LSU to play 3-game series at Baton Rouge. Number 1 team in the country against number 10 team in the country. It's going to be a powerhouse matchup. It's going to be a great, great series. Talk about pitching duels. That's what we're about to see. That's what we're about to. I hope that's what we're about to see for Tennessee's sake. So we hope everybody has.
If not, it's going to be a really long weekend.
Yeah, no kidding. That's exactly right. Well, we appreciate everybody joining us, and then those who've been watching along. We got folks on Facebook and YouTube who have been watching. Hey, keep sharing the Vol Bros with your buddies. Text a buddy, man. That's how we can grow this thing. We appreciate it so much if you do that. Be looking for videos tomorrow and Friday from us. We tomorrow we'll have our tight ends position preview video released. Friday, I'm going to probably do our rankings of the baseball uniforms. We'll release that video, and then we'll be going live again either Saturday or Sunday. So stay tuned with us. We love doing this. For all the people who are watching right now, like I said, we got folks on Facebook and YouTube watching right now. So thank you all so much for watching. Let everybody know about us. Text a buddy, and we appreciate it. We hope everybody has a great, great weekend. Go Vols. Big series coming up tomorrow. Big, big series. And we look forward to talking with everybody at the conclusion of that series. And hopefully we'll be saying, man, Tennessee's won the series. If they sweep it, we all need to go buy lottery tickets. But
yeah, if they sweep it, we're having a very different conversation.
Yeah. But at the very minimum, hopefully we're talking about a series win next time we're live with you. So hope everybody has a great evening. Go Vols, baby. We'll see you soon.